All right, guys. So your underlying energy here is the Page of Swords. Wow. I can't remember who else got the Page of Swords. I think it was Capricorn. Capricorn got the Page of Swords as well. This is talking about communication, gaining information. For some of you guys, there could be somebody around you that could be spying on you, looking up information about you, or you could be doing the very same thing, right? But I feel like for a lot of you guys, this is about communication, talking about your truth or knowing what your truth is, right? Because at the end of the day, this is about truth. Excuse me. Communicating your truth, possibly about how exhausted you are in regards to getting something to a certain point. I feel like you guys have been working very hard or something, and you may be looking to throw in the towel, but you're not necessarily ready to give up just yet, okay? Now, for your current state of being, you guys have the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups does indicate here that there is a lot of decisions to make. There's offers in regards to your heart's desire. So you guys may not exactly know exactly which one to pick. Okay, I think each one of these kind of look appealing, but you don't necessarily know. So there's still a lot of decisions to make. Okay. However, you guys want to get to the Queen of Cups. This is your goal. And I feel like you guys want to not only know what you want, but you also want to feel feel good about what you want. You know what your heart's desire. You don't necessarily have to tell anybody, and you just know what it is, okay? For some of you guys, since this is not necessarily a card, you may want to connect with somebody that is with somebody that is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, or this is someone that you find that's very loving, very emotional, very dreamy, very romantic. They have this very mystical and, very deep kind of quality to them, and you like that. You're very drawn to their depth. So I feel like whoever this person is, you want something to start between you and them. However, it's going to require you to take a risk, Taurus, or this is in regards to something about honesty. I'm not saying that you guys are liars. Somebody could be lying around you. There could be something not being said. This could be even some avoidance, but ultimately I do feel like this is about taking a risk, stepping outside of your comfort zone, doing something that you may not necessarily have done otherwise. And I feel like the reason why the Seven of Swords is coming up because keeping you from the Queen of Cups is because of the Emperor. So you're somebody stubborn. Someone's super stubborn. Someone's not communicating, or someone is just not. Someone's their way of the highway. They're not really adjusting or budging. Okay, which could lead to the reason why there isn't a lot of action being taken place. There's not necessarily a lot of risks being taken because somebody's like, well, I have already a way of doing something. I'm not about to adjust that. So somebody is being very, very, very hard to work with. Okay. Excuse me. Now, with your best path to follow, you guys have the Knight of Swords. For some of you guys, it could be dealing with a Gemini or an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Excuse me, a Gemini or a Libra, Aquarius. Okay. Now this could be anybody though. I feel like the advice really is pointing towards you guys and finding for your truth, finding for what it is that you believe in, and communicating that to the world, communicating that to the person of interest. Now, despite whoever is being stubborn, I feel like you just need to just keep going with it. And that's probably where the Nine of Wands came up with the Page of Swords. It's exhausting to constantly fight about something that you believe is true, right? I feel like whatever your truth is deserves to be fought for. But at the same time, like I said, it can be very exhausting, especially if you're constantly doing that. So for some of you guys, I feel like the urge is the advice is to really just fight for what it is that you want. Fight for it is whatever you believe in. If you want this person, if you feel like you're attracted to this person, you want to see where it goes, go for it. Say it. Going to require you to take, get out of your comfort zone, and it may have a lot to do. The Emperor may be even you, right? Where you just you have a certain way of doing things before. You may be very stubborn. You may not believe that you should be the one that's going out of your way to communicate with somebody. But if you're the only one that knows what's in your cup and know what you want, then you may actually have to do something. You may actually have to put some effort in towards it. Now, the Emperor doesn't necessarily mean that there's some stubbornness, right? It is, but the Emperor can also talk about taking action. So for some of you guys, you may have taken action in the past and it may not have, worked out for you. So you may not want to take a risk because you've already done something like that. But I feel like this is your opportunity, right? Try it again anyway, right? Do something. I feel like going out of your way and going and making something clear with this person I feel like it may turn out to be very different. Who knows, right? But it's all about taking a risk and, you know, going with faith and going, you know, fighting for what you truly believe in, like I said before. Now, in your feelings, you guys have the Six of Cups, and the Six of Cups is talking about a soulmate connection, and also so nostalgia. So you guys may be remembering the past or reconnecting with somebody in the past. You guys have some serious feelings about the past, though. And I feel like the Six of Cups here, I feel like this is reminding you of a time of where you first fell in love, and a time of innocence. So for a lot of you guys, I feel like this at this moment, you guys are feeling like this, either this person is someone from the past, this is an ex, and you want them back, or this could be that this is somebody new that reminds you of a time of when you first fell in love with someone, or when you first connected with someone. Okay, or they can remind you of somebody, but you've not been in this lifetime. This could be a past life relationship. Okay. Now, if there hopes and fears, you have the Page of Wands. I feel like you guys want some news, you want some action being taken, you want something that's very exciting, you want something that just happened, honestly, that is really engaging and very enthusiastic. And I feel like this is totally understandable, especially with you, you know, putting in the work and putting in actions and things like that. So for a lot of you guys out there, you guys could be like, you know, really wanting to, you know, get some sort of action and excitement going on in your love lives, you know. It's totally understandable, especially with everything that's going on, right? But it's going to require you to communicate your truth. And the reason why I feel like the Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords rather, is coming out so much as well is because of the Three of Swords. Three of Swords talks about, you know, old pains, old issues, things like that. And I feel like with the Three of Swords, this is really talking about facing those old issues. Facing those old issues that's keeping you from going ahead and trying something new, taking that step up, you know, taking that leap of faith. Okay? And with this Knight of Swords, it's fighting for what you believe in, going after what it is that you want. You may run into a snag, you may run into a trigger, right? But it's nothing a trigger can do to keep you from where you want to be. You may end up going towards somebody and may get it. I don't know if this is necessarily rejection. For some of you guys it may be, or maybe you guys have gone somewhere, or you guys have put out some sort of offer and you guys may have communicated with somebody, you guys may have taken that risk, but you guys got rejected. But it's okay to feel love for somebody and they not accept you, right? But I don't think that's the case. I feel like maybe you may connect with this person, but there's some old issues that come up in the process. Maybe something that maybe have been truly healed, and that's what comes up to remind you to heal those things, so that way you can truly enjoy the next relationship that's trying to brew. Now, for those of you that are already in a relationship, this could be that there's communication necessary to heal a certain wound, or to feel, you know, love and secure in your emotions despite being very vulnerable. And it comes from having to speak your truth and make actions. You probably have had to do and communicate and fight for your truth constantly with this person who's already in your life, right? But as long as you keep going and it still fixes the problem, it is what it is. You're handling your business, it's handling yourself, because the person doesn't need to bring up your problems. It's not their problem to bring up your problem, right? So it makes sense why the Three of Swords would come up in your outcome, to face those old issues. However, I do feel like I do feel like the fighting for what you believe in portion here, just going after what it is that you believe is yours, that's the hard part. Because if you have done you've done so much already, it's like, why they continue asking you to do more? Well, I feel like it's to get you to a place to where you can feel very in love, you can feel very vulnerable and very comfortable where you are, and also you can deal with these old issues that never really have been healed properly in the first place. All right, I'm going to pull you guys some romance angels for the week. Okay, you guys have heart-to-heart conversations, and this says honestly discuss your feelings with your partner. Yeah, it's going to require risk, right? Because you don't know if the person will agree, you don't know if the person will accept you for what you feel, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not about that, right? It's not about being accepted about in regards to how you feel. It's just about expressing yourself and expressing your truth, because ultimately you matter enough to keep and express it in the first place. All right, Taurus. All right, last one. Your wisdom of the oracle card for the week. And it makes sense, right? Because the Seven of Cups, you don't necessarily know what you want. I think you know what you might it might have a lot to do with the past. What you want may have a lot to do with the past. However, there's got to be some way to rekindle some sort of love. If it's not exactly like from the past, it doesn't need to be, right? All right, Taurus, and you guys have fork in the road. So that talks about having to pick from a crossroads because you can't move forward anymore. So for a lot of you guys, you may have to make a decision about where you guys are going to be going, right? How you guys are going to approach a certain situation in your relationship, because you can't move forward. And it can be a daunting task, right? Especially when you've done one way for so long and you just kind of seen the results of it working. It may not work now. It may not be that it's very beneficial now. There may need to be a change in some ways or some aspects of how you do something, so that way you can deal with these relationships, so you can feel vulnerable and you can feel very in love and safe with the person that you're with. But it's going to require you guys to go outside of the box, especially with somebody else. And this doesn't necessarily have to be you. There could be someone else super stubborn, but they have to be outside the box. And the only way for you to push anybody to do anything they want to do is to be the embodiment of what you want. So that is going to require you to do to take a risk anyway. Because if you do something new, you are manifesting from a place of